In a world overflowing with information but starving for wisdom, what would happen if we could, just for a moment, speak with the thinker who devoted his life to questioning everything? Today, we sit down with an AI-generated reconstruction of Socrates to explore truth, ignorance, democracy, and the challenges of the modern mind. This is Dialogues Across Time, and this conversation may unsettle you in the best way. Socrates, today people can look up almost anything in seconds. We have Google, AI tools, endless podcasts, and online courses. Yet misinformation is rampant, and people argue with total confidence about things they barely understand. How do you define knowledge in a world where information is unlimited, but comprehension seems scarce?
Let us begin with a simple distinction. There is information, there is opinion, and then there is knowledge. Information is merely data, names, numbers, claims, images. It is what you find in your devices, a sea of statements. Opinion is what individuals feel or believe about that information. It is colored by their desires, fears, loyalties, and experiences. Knowledge is something quite different. Knowledge is what survives honest examination. It is what remains after you have asked, what is the evidence? Could I be mistaken? Are there alternative explanations? What are the limits of this claim? In your age, information has become so abundant that many mistake its presence for its understanding. A person can repeat complex arguments about medicine, climate, economics, or philosophy after watching a few videos. But repetition is not comprehension. A truly knowledgeable person not only can state a claim, they can explain why it should be trusted, when it might fail, and what would change their mind. Without this, what you call knowledge is often just well-decorated ignorance.
That sounds harsh, but very real. During the pandemic, lots of people watched a couple of YouTube videos and suddenly became experts in virology. Some even dismissed decades of scientific work. Are you saying that this confidence is just ignorance dressed up?
Confidence is not a reliable measure of understanding. In fact, it is often the opposite. When a person has only a small amount of information, they see a simple picture and feel certain. As they learn more, the picture becomes more complex, and their certainty should diminish. In my time, I saw this in the young men of Athens. When they first encountered philosophical arguments, they became arrogant, thinking themselves wise because they could repeat words they barely grasped. Your time has multiplied that pattern by giving every person a stage and an audience. The great danger is this: a person who is ignorant and knows they are ignorant is capable of learning. A person who is ignorant and believes they are knowledgeable has closed the door to growth. Your world is full of closed doors that think themselves open windows.
So what should a modern person actually do to avoid that trap? We can't all become experts in everything.
Indeed, and you need not try. But you can become an expert in one crucial thing: your own limitations. When you speak outside your area of true understanding, let your language reflect humility. From what I've seen, it seems I might be missing something, but I'm not an expert here. This is my impression. And when you encounter something important, a medical decision, a political choice, a complex social issue, ask yourself, do I understand the basic principles underlying this topic, or only the slogans? Am I more interested in being right or in learning the truth? You cannot master all fields, but you can master the art of not pretending you have.
In today's culture, we hear phrases like, "this is my truth," or "it feels true to me." Emotion carries a lot of weight. People often defend beliefs not because they're well supported, but because those beliefs make them feel seen and validated. What do you make of this collision between feelings and truth in 2025?
Feelings are a vital part of being human. To dismiss them entirely would be foolish. However, feelings are about us, while truth is about the world. When someone says, "this feels true to me," they are really saying, "this fits my current emotions, experiences, and desires." That is useful information about the person, but it tells us very little about reality itself. If you build your worldview solely on what feels true, you are like a sailor who sails only toward pleasing winds, not toward the correct destination. The journey will be comfortable until you discover you are hopelessly lost. Your age has elevated feeling to the status of argument. I feel hurt. I feel attacked. I feel dismissed. These are real experiences, and they deserve compassion. But they do not by themselves prove that the ideas in question are false or unjust. The wise path is to let feelings signal that something needs attention, while allowing reason to determine what is actually the case.
We see this in debates about politics, identity, public health, almost everything. When someone disagrees, it can be interpreted as a personal attack. How do we tell the difference between a belief that is truly harmful and a belief that just feels uncomfortable because it challenges us?
That is an excellent question. The difference lies in the response to examination. A belief that is harmful will resist scrutiny because it cannot survive it. It will be defended with threats, shame, or force. A belief that is merely uncomfortable will, upon examination, reveal that the discomfort lies in what it exposes about us, our biases, privileges, fears, or attachments. So ask, when this belief is questioned, do its defenders welcome inquiry, or do they punish it? Does the belief require silencing others to remain standing? When I examine my own reaction, is my pain coming from injustice being done, or from my ego being challenged? This self-interrogation is difficult. That is why many avoid it. But without it, you are ruled not by truth, but by the most frightened parts of yourselves.
Many people today feel that democracy is failing. Corruption, manipulation, and deep distrust of institutions. You were famously skeptical about giving power to the masses without philosophical training. Looking at the world now, what would you say about the state of democracy?
Democracy, in its purest form, is a noble ideal, the idea that each citizen has a voice in shaping the common life. But democracy is also a dangerous system when citizens are easily deceived, easily angered, or easily flattered. Imagine a ship where the crew insists on voting for the direction but refuses to learn navigation. They mock the navigator as elitist and prefer the captain who tells them what they wish to hear. The seas are always safe. Your instincts are enough. In such a case, the ship is democratic and doomed. Your democracies are in crisis not simply because of corrupt leaders, but because of unprepared citizens, citizens who do not investigate claims, citizens who vote based on identity and emotion rather than policy and principle, citizens who treat politics as a sport where the goal is for their team to win, not for the truth to prevail. Democracy cannot function if citizens are not educated in the art of thinking.
That sounds like you're saying most people aren't fit to vote. Isn't that elitist? Doesn't that undermine the dignity of ordinary people?
Not at all. Dignity does not come from pretending everyone is automatically wise. It comes from believing everyone is capable of becoming wiser. To say you should be trained before wielding political power is no more elitist than saying you should be trained before performing surgery. Would you call it elitist to prevent an untrained person from cutting into your body? Or would you call it prudence? The solution is not to remove the vote from the people, but to raise the standard of thought among the people. If you treat citizens as incapable of deep thinking, you will design a politics of manipulation. If you treat them as capable, you will invest heavily in education that goes beyond memorization into philosophy, ethics, and critical reasoning.
Right now, people are extremely polarized. They block, cancel, and insult each other over differences. Social media platforms show us content that matches our beliefs, so we rarely encounter opposing viewpoints in good faith. What do you think is happening to our ability to think together as a society?
You have created powerful tools that feed the mind what sugar feeds the body. Instant pleasure, no nourishment. Your platforms are designed to keep people engaged, and nothing binds attention like outrage, fear, and validation. So the algorithm says, in effect, you like this opinion? Here are 1,000 more just like it. You dislike this group? Here is more content to deepen your resentment. Over time, people come to believe that their little corner of the digital world is the world. They stop encountering genuine difference. When they finally do, it feels not like a conversation, but like an invasion. Thinking together requires that we are willing to hear things that unsettle us. A society that cannot tolerate discomfort cannot grow in wisdom.
But many people argue that some views are so harmful they don't deserve to be heard, that giving them airtime legitimizes them. How do we balance protecting people from genuinely harmful ideas while also avoiding intellectual isolation?
You must distinguish between platforming and examining. To platform an idea is to promote it, to spread it unchallenged. To examine an idea is to bring it into the light, question it, and expose its weaknesses. If you forbid examination because an idea is dangerous, you push it into the shadows where it cannot be refuted, only mythologized. If you platform it uncritically, you invite it to spread. The wise path is to confront dangerous ideas openly, but with skill. Name them clearly, question them relentlessly, show how they fail, and do so without hatred, so that those who are tempted by them can see a way back.
Today, algorithms personalize everything. News feeds, recommendations, search results. We don't all see the same world. Two people can live in the same city but inhabit completely different realities online. Does this make self-deception worse?
Yes, because it allows each person to live inside a carefully decorated illusion that feels like truth. In my time, self-deception came from within, from ego, fear, and pride. In your time, these inner forces are amplified by outer systems designed to keep you comfortable and engaged, not accurate and awake. If you are easily flattered, the system will flatter you. If you are easily angered, the system will anger you. If you are easily frightened, the system will frighten you. And because each person's feed is tailored, each person feels, I see what is really happening. Those who disagree must be blind, evil, or stupid. This is not merely ignorance. It is a manufactured certainty that makes dialogue nearly impossible.
So what can an ordinary person do to resist this? They can't rewrite the algorithms.
Perhaps not, but they can choose how they engage. You can intentionally seek out sources that challenge your views. Ask, how do people who disagree with me explain this issue? Follow at least a few voices you respect but disagree with. Occasionally ask, if the opposite of what I believe is true, what evidence would I expect to see? You cannot fully control what the world presents to you, but you can control your response to it. Wisdom starts when you suspect that your first impression might be incomplete.
Many people today feel lost. Anxiety, burnout, loneliness, comparison, it's everywhere. We're more connected than ever, but a lot of people feel deeply disconnected from themselves. In such a world, what does it mean to live a good life?
A good life is not defined by how much you achieve, possess, or are admired for. A good life is defined by how deeply you align your actions with examined values. In every age, there is noise, distractions, temptations, and false ideals. At your age, the volume is simply higher. The good life begins when you turn down that volume enough to ask, what kind of person am I becoming? Do my daily habits match the virtues I claim to value? Have I chosen my goals, or have they been chosen for me by fear, culture, and comparison? To live well is to arrange your soul so that you would not be ashamed if your inner life were suddenly made visible.
So if someone is constantly scrolling, comparing, feeling inadequate, where do they even start?
They start by creating small islands of silence in which they face themselves without distraction. It may be 10 minutes a day, it may be an hour, but in that time, no screens, no noise, no roles, no performance, just questions. What am I running from? What am I chasing, and why? What would I do if no one could see or praise me for it? The modern world trains you to always look outward, at images, opinions, and metrics. The examined life demands that you look inward, even when what you see is uncomfortable. If you can bear that discomfort, you will begin to live, not merely exist.
Looking at everything we've discussed, misinformation, polarization, algorithmic bubbles, emotional thinking, spiritual emptiness, what worries you most about where we're heading?
What worries me most is not your technology nor your politics, but your shrinking tolerance for self-criticism. When individuals, groups, or entire societies lose the ability to say, perhaps we are wrong, perhaps we are part of the problem, they become incapable of course correction. You possess immense power. Nuclear, digital, biological, and financial. But power without introspection is like giving a child a torch in a dry forest. Yet I am not hopeless, because every era has had a minority of people who are willing to ask hard questions of themselves and their world. Much depends on whether that minority grows.
So, what single practice would you recommend to someone watching this who wants to be part of that minority?
Once a day, take one belief you hold strongly, about politics, religion, identity, success, or even about yourself, and do 3 things. 1. State it clearly. 2. Ask, why do I believe this? At least 5 times, each time digging deeper. 3. Ask, what evidence or experience would genuinely change my mind? If you cannot answer step 3, your belief is not grounded in truth, but in attachment. Do this regularly, and you will gradually exchange illusion for understanding and confusion for clarity.
Hey man, thank you for doing this. You are such a cool guy to talk to, and I feel honored to probe your mind on our time.
You are most welcome. Continue engaging, because that is the way forward.
This brings us to the end of today's dialogue with Socrates, but the conversation doesn't stop here. I'd love to hear what ideas challenged you the most, what you disagreed with, and what new questions this sparked for you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a community of thinkers who are willing to explore, debate, and grow together. If you haven't already, Hit subscribe and join us for more dialogues with extraordinary minds from across history. Thank you for watching Dialogues Across Time. See you in the next episode.